This is my what in the world have I gotten myself into playing with D2L video. Hopefully, if you're an old hand at D2L, if you used it last semester or whatever, and you're really comfortable with it, you could probably skip this video and it'd be fine. But if you're, thinking I don't really know how to do this, I was used to Angel, or I've never done an online class or whatever, this video hopefully will be useful to you. If nothing else, it'll give you a sense of how I've set the course up and kind of what I've gotten in mind here. When you log into online.jccc.edu, you're going to come to this page, and it's going to have your courses listed down here. It's got some other stuff there which you may or may not find interesting, but right here I'm going to click on this course. I'm doing this in the summer of 2014, my second semester using D2L, first semester that the entire campus is using it. When I get to this is the home page for the course. You see the name of the course there. It's English 121, section 350. There's this number that you don't need to care about, and it's got some kind of introductory stuff there, and it'll have news there from time to time. I didn't use that a lot last semester. I may or may not coming up. It's got the calendar here, and I think that's about it. Now, I want to point out, right across the top here, you've got all these tabs. And these, take you to particular parts of the course. And the one that I want to emphasize to you is this one right here. I'm pointing to it, content. Okay? If you don't use any of the other ones, that's the one you need to concern yourself with, because that's how I think through this course. Okay, I'll look at a couple of the other ones here in a minute. But this is the one you need to make your first stop almost all the time. So I'm going to click on it, and we come to, I'm going to move this here, we come to a part of the content. It always goes back to where you were. That's why it went back to item 2 there. You can see here it has overview, syllabus. Well, the only thing that's in there that's of any value is the course competencies for this course. You can look at them if you want, but honestly, they're a snooze. The syllabus is actually in this starting line section, so you don't really need anything there. I don't have any bookmarks right now. I may add some later. If I do, I'll let you know. Upcoming events, I'm not sure what. No, it's got some due dates. Okay, but what you're going to want to do is work your way through the table of contents here, through items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, or if you're in a different class, whatever I've got set up there. I always set these courses up in this way, a certain number of modules. If you march through number 1 and then you march through number 2, you're going to get everything done. And this is where people they'll go over here to the discussion tab or the Dropbox tab or the quiz tab, and they'll go, hey, I see this quiz and it's coming up, and yeah, it is. But if you work through item 1 and then item 2 over here and item 3 over here, you're going to hit all of those. If there's something listed here that's not in here, you don't have to do it. If I say, hey, how come you didn't do the XYZ quiz? If you can't find it listed here, then I screwed up, and you don't have to do it. Okay? So look through these things. Let them be your script, your guide, your map, whatever metaphor you want to use to take you through this stuff. Okay. We're going to go through the starting line here real quickly and take a look at some of this material. If you click on the ones with the icon like this, that's just a page. You click on it. It's not going to let me click on it because I'm in this as student mode and the course hasn't begun yet. But it will display, and it's pretty straightforward stuff. If you, I tell you what, if I go over here, okay, now ignore me here for a second. I'm gonna cheat. But this has got the this little icon, the little voice balloons, that tells me it's a discussion. That's going to be something. I'm going to look at one here in a second. Couple more pages. There's a quiz there. Okay, let's take a look at these. Now, again, ignore me. I'm not really using the discussion thing here. I'm going to, like I say, I'm going to cheat. It's not going to let me do it. Doggone it. Yes, it will. Okay, if I had clicked on it after June 2nd, over here in content, it would have let me get into introducing the runners. You see it gives some introductions. Read the introduction, or not introductions, instructions. Read the instructions. I put them there for a reason. I mean, it's not just because I like to write. but then it'll say something like start a new thread. And if there were some postings, they'd be listed down here. Now, occasionally I'm going to say reply to this. For example, sometimes I will seed the thing with, with 4 different topics and say, well, these people need to respond to this one, and these people need to respond to this one, or everybody needs to respond to all of them, or whatever it might be. But in this case, there's no other choice but to start a new thread. So I'm going to say start a new thread. You can see it's pretty easy stuff. You say, here's your subject. This is self-introduction, so I'm going to say, here's who I am, and I go blah, 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 and I go down here to post. When I hit post, hopefully I'll remember to go back and delete this, or you're going to say, that's really weird. It's going to show up there, and there you go. It's done, and you know it's there. Now, one of the things that happens sometimes is people, they get a little bit tense when it comes to grades, and you might see a 0 listed for you for something that you know you did. If you go back and you say, hey, it's there, I can see it, and then you go over here to the grades and it's not listed, well, assume that I didn't give you a 0 for that. If you turn in something, you're going to get something. So, or if you got a 0 because you plagiarized, you're going to be hearing from me. So, assume that if you can see it, then eventually I'm going to get it recorded. It's not going to be a problem. All right, that's the discussions. They're pretty easy. The Dropbox, again, wouldn't normally go to it through this way, but it's going to let me do it this way because it's before the course has begun. I've got this first paper here. It gives instructions. That's grand. And then it gives me a place to submit my paper. And so I say a file to submit. Oh, I'm going to add a file. Okay, I click there. I can drop something over here. It gets way too big of a file. Yes, it is, so I'm not going to bother with it. But eventually I'm going to say add, and it'll add, and there you go. I'm good with that. I could record audio. I don't know why you would. I can put comments down here. So if this is like you got to say, hey, I couldn't get it to do this, so please don't fail me for that. Or I never could spell the word calendar or whatever. You know, that would be a place to put this. Or if you just want to tell me to have a nice day or recipe for chocolate chip cookies or something like that, that would be appropriate. Silly, but appropriate. And then you hit submit, and it's going to put it there for me to grade. If you submit something and you realize, oh my goodness, I blundered terribly. You know, I sent him my collection of love letters instead of the paper. What do? Just submit something else, and I will grade the last thing that comes in. It'll let you submit paper after paper after paper. Please don't, but if you do, I'm going to look at the latest one that came in and assume that's the one you want graded. Okay, I'm going to hit cancel to back out of this, and it's going to do so ever so slowly. There it goes. Okay, so that's the Dropbox. Quizzes, actually I'm not going to get into that, but I could look at a quiz. When I do a quiz, the reason I'm not going to do it is it'll show you all the questions. You're going to see some pretty helpful stuff. It'll give you the instructions, and then it'll ask you, do you want to start the quiz? So if you accidentally click on this, oh no, I wasn't ready, I've only got 10 minutes to get the quiz done, and I've ruined my life. Don't worry. You haven't ruined your life. Just back out of it, and it'll be fine. But once you start it, it displays the questions, and normally I have all the questions showing at the same time. Occasionally I'll have a quiz where I want it to, I want to kind of give away part of the answer to question number 1 in the question for question number 2, so I'll have them display in order and only one at a time. But generally you get the whole thing at once. You can answer them. It will give you the option to save each question as you go. That's a good idea. Save it, and then you know it's good. It's in there. And at the very bottom, it'll say Save All Answers. Well, just to be sure, hit that one at the end, and then it has a button there that says Submit the quiz or Proceed to Submit or something like that. It has the word Submit on it. Make sure you push that button, okay? Because every semester I have 1 or 2 people that will take a quiz, and like 6 weeks later, the computer still thinks they're taking the quiz because they've of course gone on with their lives. but it never got submitted. And if you didn't save, if you do that and you didn't save the answers along the way, it's got just 0. It's got no answers for you, and it's dicey as to whether I'm going to be able to get that information and give you an actual grade. So make sure you hit submit at the end of it. It's, I think, a very simple system to work. It seems to work really well if you push the right buttons. Angel wasn't always that way. It was a little iffy at times. So again, I've looked at all 3 of these tabs. You don't really need to mess with them. If you focus on this one, it will get you where you need to be. Okay? But one that you are going to probably want to look at is grades. And you should see something like this. Hopefully a better score than this. But you're going to see all of the possible grades that we will have. And you can see I've got really lousy grades. I got 0 for 25, 0 for 25, 23 out of 25. I just punched that in because I was playing with how this worked. And it'll list them all. Eventually, when I get it all completely done, it's going to have 800, not 810, but 1,000 points possible. And basically, when you look at this, obviously, you know, if it's the first week of the semester and you look down here and you've got a 0, well, that's not a problem. But if you've got holes up here, if I've graded down to this point and you've got a 0 up here and you know you turned it in, well, that might be a good time to say, hey, did you get that? Maybe I turned it in 15 minutes late or something. So if that comes up, you might point that out. Otherwise, just be patient and it'll show up. It does work its way out. Okay? I want to really emphasize that this is an English course. It's not a computer skills course. It's not a keeping 100% internet connectivity course or anything like that, which would be a really weird course. But it is an English course. And so if you are up against the deadline and, oh my gosh, your internet flipped out and you could not submit your paper on time, don't freak out, okay? Just keep it, save it, make sure you've got it, get it to me as quickly as you can. It'll be all right. Just tell me, hey, my internet freaked out. I'm submitting this 6 hours late, or I'm submitting this a day late, or whatever, and it's not going to be a problem. Now, that being said, some of you are sitting there going, ha, I know how to get an easy extension, and yes, you do. About the second time you do it, I'm going to start asking you, what did you buy your internet at Casey's General Store or what? I mean, come on. So just please be honest about it. I don't want you to do badly because of technical problems, but hopefully we won't have any big technical problems. I think that is all that I have to show you today. And hopefully you found it useful. And if nothing else, well, then you've basically wasted about 10 or 15 minutes of your life, right? Right.